Good morning, Magic! I'm Gavin Verhey from Wizards of the Coast, and Zendikar Rising pre-release weekend is happening right now. You can't really talk about Zendikar Rising without talking about full art lands. The first time full art lands showed up in an entirely black bordered set was the original Zendikar. Now why there? I mean, they were popular in the unsets previously, Unglued and Unhinged, but why do them in Zendikar? Well, original Zendikar had a lands matter theme, with landfall cards and all kinds of other things that cared about having a bunch of lands. And so because of that, when you open up a booster pack, even if you don't know that lands are a big part of the set, when you see that full art land, it kind of clues your brain in, hey, lands are gonna matter. And I think everyone knew they were going to be popular, but I don't think anybody predicted they were going to come back as one of the highest rated things we've done of all time. So aside from showing up on a Judge promo, the next time we see them is Battle for Zendikar, which we're back to Zendikar again, lands matter again. Hey, it's a great time to do this. And this time around in Oath of the Gatewatch, we even have full art wastes. Okay, so everything's tracking so far. You put the full art lands in the lands matter set, easy peasy. But then something different happens. As part of an experiment, we put full art lands into Amonkhet block. We know that players love full art lands, so we gave it a try here. Now they weren't in every pack, although there were still plenty floating around, but I think the really notable part here is that Amonkhet and Hour of Devastation didn't really have anything to do with lands. I mean, you had some deserts maybe, sure, but certainly nothing to do with basic lands in particular. I mean, besides casting all your spells, that is. And after players had asked us for full art lands and sets for so long, the response to the Amonkhet ones was meh. So there's a couple things we learned there. First of all, if full art lands are in your set, they should appear in every pack. Just one every now and then isn't enough to get people excited. But second of all, we learned that full art lands really do the most for us when they reinforce the setting in some way or have something to do with the set. And that's why in Modern Horizons, you see full art snow lands. Snow was a big part of Modern Horizons, and plus we had never done full art snow lands before. Now with Theros Beyond Death, we did another cycle of lands that were pretty well received, but these were a little bit different. Yes, they were full art, but they really tied into the theme of Theros. They were all about the constellation and enchantment nature of the set. And so that brings us to Zendikar Rising. And although there was a little bit of talk early on about if the set should have full art basics or not, given that Theros Beyond Death had something very similar, the answer was, of course, it's Zendikar, we're going back, we need to have full art basic lands, people will expect them. So a question here we get a lot is why don't we do full art basic lands with every set? And there are kind of two main answers here. The first is the Hour of Devastation answer I gave before, where in Amonkhet Hour of Devastation, it wasn't really tied into the theme and didn't really do a ton ultimately. The second answer though, and the much more important one, is that the more times you do something, the less cool it becomes. For example, if every set had full art basic lands, suddenly that would just be the norm and extra cool versions of lands wouldn't really mean as much. And to use a very real example, and before I say this, I want to be clear, I love the Zendikar Rising lands, they are awesome. The fact that we just did a bunch in Theros Beyond Death with the constellation lands means that a lot of my decks already have awesome lands and I need these ones just a little bit less than I might have before. So are we going to do more full art lands on planes in the future that aren't Zendikar? I'd say absolutely. It's just gonna happen. We'll have good cases for it. But I think we're going to be very careful about when and where we deploy them. I'll also say that one of the places you can probably expect to see some full art basics in the future are secret lair drops. We did it with the Godzilla lands and they went over pretty well. And it's a really cool way to match your aesthetic to your lands. So which full art basic land from Zendikar Rising is your favorite? Let me know in the comments below. I'll talk with you again on Monday. And in the meantime, you have a lot of fun exploring the lands of Zendikar. You got this.
Which creature on Ikoria would taste the best on a sandwich?
At this point, I would not feel bad about eating Yorion. I'll tell you that much. I feel like Yorion has caused me enough harm. Sorry, Yorion, but you had it coming.
How big is Hedging Crab?
About a 0-2.
What is the average number of lands in your commander decks?